Blah, blah, blah.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Wiz podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Wiz, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to my good brother. He is a jiu-jitsu practitioner, a pastry chef extraordinaire. He is the one and only Mike Pinto.
Oh man, you're overhyping me now, and I already feel like I slightly catfished a little bit because like my promo photo, it's like a mohawk. I'm like clean shaven. I'm like yelling, and now I'm here like literally rocking the 2020 look to the extreme with like this mop head haircut going on. But it's cool. It's good. Yeah. How you doing though?
Fucking crazy week. I mean, we talked off air, but I mean, for those who don't know, like literally Wednesday, my wife tested positive for COVID, had been in 8 months, and like she didn't leave the house. And then the one time she leaves the house for a job related deal, she gets the COVID. So fuck, So it's been a weird one. And then like my computer camera took a shit on me, so I'm back on the phone. But I mean, it's all right.
You roll with the punches the best you can.
And
you're trying to.
And shit, I get to have my fucking Pinto, my fucking friend, my good brother, on the podcast. So shit is good.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Yeah, it should be fun. I've always wanted to do this too. It's really funny. This is like my first. Like I've had friends who had podcasts like hop in for like a minute or two just to give like a little 1-2. But this is like my first real podcast, and I thought it was really funny because your name is Adam. My first MMA coach's name was Adam. And my first pastry chef I worked under's name was Adam as well. So it just feels so natural and right now. Like
the Trinity is fucking complete. The Adam.
I'm sitting on a beanbag chair. I have boba. It is happy Friday, everyone. It might not be Friday when you're watching it, but it is Friday right now, and we are loving it.
Yes, so good cheer for everyone in this what should be weekend. I mean, it's definitely the weekend wherever the fuck you are. So just saying. So happy weekend to you. And
El this King is also Fetty, the first says, lockdown.
And El King Fetty El Fetty says, "Hey yo, what's up?" So what's up?
What's up, El King?
El King Fetty El Fetty. That's a fucking great name.
That's amazing. You have to be like you have a high expectations with a name like that, my friend. That's like
I think it. Oh, but did I lie? Did I fucking lie? Are you a fucking jiu-jitsu practitioner? Are you a badass pastry chef? I tell no lies.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught I downplay myself a little bit. I really do need to get into this like I'm the shit like bandwagon and really like puff up my own flames. But yeah, it's been fun. All right, so I'll start you from the beginning a little bit, just because it's kind of weird how it kind of all mends a little bit. Have basic standard, story starting up with like, was bullied when I was younger, got into the whole Taekwondo point sparring type of thing. Thank God for my parents for putting me into that. It honestly, I don't think I've ever done anything I've learned in that class. I'm not Uriah Hall or Sage Northcutt doing spinning back kicks and everything like that. But something like that gives you like the confidence that like if someone's bullying you, it's like, all right, I can snap a little 1-2 here and call it a day. So then from there, I just gave me like the confidence to fight essentially. And then where I grew up in New York, I'm actually a New York transplant out in California. And out there in Elwood, New York, which is where I'm from, shout out. We have something called Blue Wave Wrestling, which is a huge program where they basically breed young athletes. California has this. I'm sure you could probably name a bunch of California programs too that are like that. But they just take like 5-year-olds and they just morph them and meld them into being state champions essentially. And it's amazing how they do it. And I joined my junior year of high school I was wrestling at 285 pounds, but I was really like 240. I was a small little guy versus giants. and I was kind of forced into this. You got to learn how to do this experience. So between the mixture of the karate giving me the confidence to do it, and then just being in like a gym around people who are just so confident in the sport themselves and like willing to help you grow and show them everything you needed. Like everyone there, like from the senior classmen up, everyone was just amazing. They were also like giving in their knowledge. I mean, I'm sure you hear all the time in the martial arts community, everyone is always so like sharing and giving of.
Well, I mean, if that's the standard story, then I really feel like a fucking leper because that is not my story at all. Like, grew up like a street kid. My dad was a street performer. I guess they call it a busker now in San Francisco, right on Fisherman's Wharf. So I couldn't do any type of, like sports because my dad, he was working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That was where the tourists came to town, right? That's where you made the big money. So there was that. And then I think I might have taken it. Yeah, I took like maybe a couple months of judo, and I liked it because I was like, oh shit, this is like wrestling, and I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. Whatever.
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm
I
like,
know.
yeah, so I'm like, this is it, and I literally got fucking dumped on my head one time. I was doing pretty well, and then I got dumped on my head because I didn't stretch. Like we got there late, I didn't stretch. I got dumped on my head. Didn't do fucking martial arts at all after that until like moved from Frisco to my mom's native Fiji, back to like the Bay Area, Indiana, Georgia, Las Vegas, New Mexico, landing in Inglewood, getting married, whatever, parents passing away, and then taking jujitsu at 29. Like literally, like 20 years in between my last time I put
That's
on
a
a
big
gi.
gap.
So I feel like if that is the normal story, I'm abnormal. Like fucking A. I feel like a leper.
I was saying like you listen to like the UFC fighters, they'll have that standard like either they were from the streets or getting bullied or something like that, and then they get funneled into some kind of other outlet to kind of do it. I'm extremely, I can't say enough how blessed I am to have the parents that I do. Like my parents, like they knew immediately I was being bullied, so it's like, all right, we have to address this because I wasn't standing up for myself. It was like 3 years this guy was beating the crap out of me, and like the school wasn't helping out, and it was like I just was like, nah, I'm willing to accept this. Like it was so bad, and then once I beat him up one time really bad, and then ever since then he just continuously wanted to fight me, but after that one time I beat him up, I just had his number, just wouldn't bounce back, and then there's also this. It's a funny story. I don't know. Do you play basketball? Do you play any basketball player at all?
No,
No,
I played in 8th grade, and still to this day, like my two favorite players are. I mean, when I was a kid, Dennis Rodman. I was like, fuck yeah, right? That dude is awesome. He does wrestling too. So fuck yeah, Dennis
He was
Rodman.
like the best entertainer. Right? He may not have been the best basketball player. I don't want to get into the whole greatest of all time, but he was probably the best entertainer in the sport of basketball for sure.
And find a better like rebounder, like defensive rebounder, like who could fucking get to the ball, like and sometimes even after the game was over, he got to the ball, if you know what I mean. But I'm just saying. That was fucking Dennis Rodman. And then really Matt Barnes. Like he's the dude that I'm like, fuck yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, that's really good. The reason why I brought up basketball is so my junior year, I thought I'm gonna try basketball. I've never played basketball in my life. And I am 5'7", 240 pounds of, I will not lie to you and say muscle. There was a lot of blubbery going on there. So suicide sprints and everything like that. All right, it was a tryout and first day gone. Like gone. But I'll never forget the coach, who was also the football coach. He pulled me aside and he's like, yeah, go to the wrestling room. Go down there and see what happens. It was this coach, Greg Laurie. Absolutely love him for saying that because it just sparked this whole passion with wrestling. And then my friends were also doing it, so they kind of like really pushed me into it. And then got into wrestling. Did very not very well because I'm not nationally ranked or anything of that nature. But within their 2 years, I got ranked into the counties my senior year, And like where I grew up, where it's extremely competitive. Like if you come out of essentially anywhere there, you can go anywhere in wrestling because it's just everyone there is an animal. My senior year, I had a terrible injury. I tore absolutely everything in my left knee. My foot got caught between two mats, and the guy hip tossed me. And so basically my foot stayed and my leg stayed, but all 280 plus 240 was do quick math with a 320. Wow, that was bad. Don't quote me. 520, like 520, 530, just going and just ripped apart everything in my knee and like both meniscus, and it was bad. Like I had football scholarships gone, wrestling scholarships gone, because they were just like, yeah, we're not in the business to buy damaged goods, essentially. And that's a pretty sufficient injury your first one out. And then the only school that was going to take me for wrestling, which is the only one I jumped on, was Morrisville State College. And it's like an upstate, like SUNY. And I hated the school. I hated, like when I got there and we started, I was like, this sucks. This is terrible. But they let me wrestle. That's the one silver lining. Essentially, but they cut their team the first year I'm there because of funds. So it's like, so one step forward, two steps back type of deal. Came home because I didn't like the school, and I essentially didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a firefighter at the time. I was a volunteer firefighter for, at that point, 4 years. So I wanted to make that like a main career and do like FDNY. I don't. Do you know any firefighters? I don't actually know how it works out in California. I think you actually apply for the job. It's not like a test, is it?
There's a couple different ways. So I mean, Bree Stick or Brianna Stickelman, she actually is one of those. I don't know what the technical name for it, and I mean, she's competed in jiu-jitsu in Azerbaijan and everything like that. But like, she does the thing that John Cena does in that movie, Playing with Fire. Like, she jumps out of shit to, put out fires and everything like that. So she did like both. Like, you got to apply, but there's also like a physical test that you have to kind of go through and all that jazz. It's like, I mean, you definitely way more athletic and way more motivated than this guy here. So just saying.
Well, it wasn't don't put yourself down like that. But I guess it's like, so you have to take like a standard knowledge test, and then you have to it's really kind of messed up how it works. So there's like, so you say you could score 100 points, right? Mm-hmm. So if I scored, I think 97 on the test, 97, 98, but which is very good. It's just pretty good. But how it works is you can get bonus points. So if there's a lot of things that give bonus points, I wasn't up for any bonus points. Granted, if I had a city address or in the district's bonus points, there's a family or military history, family member who's in the department. There's a lot of things that get you bonus points. So I'm over there with that 97, maybe got one question wrong type of feeling, but there's guys who have like 120. So it's like, so that's where it kind of got like kind of a little unfair, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to get it to be a firefighter. But closed that, moved on, and then when I had this idea I was going to be an MMA fighter, and that was this whole new avenue. I don't know if it was like I'm going to prove to myself with my messed up knee I could still do this, or what it actually panned out to be. But I was like, I want to do MMA, and it was actually really nice because the first gym I went into, the instructor that was there motivated me so well, because the first day I was there, he said, you should quit and never do this sport. And I was like, huh. Like, I didn't even step on the mat. Did absolutely nothing. Like, it's as motivated as you can be. Because my dimensions were just substantially off. At the time, I was 275, 280 pounds. I got pretty heavy.
Whoa.
And I was only 5'7". So there's no way, if I was like going to jump into MMA and at that weight, go 265 fighting guys like Francis Ngannou, Stipe, you know what I mean? Like guys who actually are that size. Like when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. That's probably not the best idea. So I got into jiu-jitsu immediately because I was like, well, I wrestled and I wrestled big guys, so it's like it's not that much of a difference. And then I wrestled until I got to about like 220. 208, like 215 range. I got my weight down pretty low, and I was doing like tournaments along the way at like unlimited and then 220, and I got like a couple of first places, and like it's all white belt though. I don't want to, and I wrestled too, so it's even more unfair. It's like, oh, that wrestler hopped into white belt. Yeah, it's how I mean, like, to be honest, like if you wrestled for X amount of years and you hop in a white belt jiu-jitsu tournament, you're a little bit of an asshole. I'll say I did it. I'm an asshole. It's how it is. Because it's like you in reality, you got those 2 years of wrestling, which is, it's not the same thing, but 75% of it. And then you could coast off of just knowing a few basic things in jiu-jitsu and just have extensive wrestling knowledge and just smoke everyone and just get the takedown, stall out. Yeah, I mean, you could. Not saying that's what I look to do. I try to keep it exciting, but I was like, it should have definitely been more enthusiastic. But the guys were big. They were big guys, 200, like 300-pound dudes. They're big. I don't want them to know stuff too. But so then I was like, all right, I gotta like really test myself. And then I was like, I'm gonna do an MMA fight. I was like, and I'm gonna put myself in the worst. And my coach at the time was this guy, Adam Shorts. Keeping with the Adam trend. Yeah. But don't follow this trend. RIP. Missed the guy terribly. He passed away a couple of years ago. Unknown reasons. But I kind of lost contact with him a little bit, and then just heard that through the grapevine. But he got me all set up with my first MMA fight, and he wanted to put me in the worst scenario possible. That way, everything's easier. So he set the fight at 195, which I was like 215. So at the time when it was 3 months out, so yeah, you got to cut a shit ton of weight. Yeah. So I was like, right off, cool. The guy already had 5 fights. He was 3-2. He was a kickboxer, 2 knockouts. So he's like, one shining grace was like, he's a striker, so just take him down. Right. So then we go into this, and then I don't know how many East Coast people we have here. So I'm in New York, and this fight is going to be in Philly, which you as a New Yorker coming to Philly is more of that asshole that I described as that white belt hopping into a blue belt tournament. They ain't going to like you. And everyone in that fans were there for him, not me. So it was like kind of like a sheep to the slaughter kind of vibe that they were playing out. But turned the tables a little bit, and I whooped this guy's ass. It wasn't even competitive. He hit me one time really good in the first round. Straight right down the middle. As I was about to shoot, so I lowered my hands and just straight in the face. Knees buckled. Like, if he moved to the side, I probably would have face planted, but I went right into a double leg and took him straight down. And then from that point on, just whooped his ass. As like, once I got the first takedown, I was like, all right, we got this. I think I got 13 takedowns and 3 submission attempts in like an amateur fight where it's only like 3-minute rounds. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I was like, all right, I'll take it. And this was my first one, and this guy's like, pretty good. He's already was like, I mean, he has some losses, but when the experience counts, when you have like 5 fights in there, it's pretty shake off them cobwebs a little bit. And then from there, I immediately was like, let's do another one. Let's get into this. But what kind of happened was around that time, I believe, I don't think that was Hurricane Sandy. We got hit by a terrible hurricane. I believe that was Hurricane Sandy time.
Sandy was a big one, yeah.
Everything. Closed down the power. Everyone got a little fat and happy, and no one wanted to fight. See, I don't know how it was I would actually love to hear how California was in the early days, because there's no pro MMA at all in New York at this time. There's none whatsoever. And there's only like shady amateur shows. And in some cases, you got to fight what they call like a smoker show, like, or a smoke event, where you that's what we called it, where you fought some guy to get on the show. Like you had to go to a gym, spar with a bunch of people, and whoever kind of shined out of the group, you're getting on the card. It's not even like, let's just speed things up a little bit, because it was very competitive. So when there's a weird time though where no one, like there just wasn't too many fights, especially locally. I know currently there's a lot of events. There's ECF. It's probably like one of the best ones out there, and they just put on amazing shows now. But at the time, it was like kind of like still that dark area. You know, you don't want to be fighting some guy in a cage. So luckily, there's one called Jackhammer Promotions. They had an event going, and they gave me a fight at heavyweight because I was chunky. See, my weight fluctuates. Like I finally got this under control. Thank God for intermittent fasting. Has changed my life. I don't know if you fast or you do any of the hipster diety things, but changed my life.
I mean, I kind of started off with fat fuck, and I'm a fat fuck still. I'm just I wear it a little bit better.
It's still there. I still eat. I'm drinking. This is straight sugar. There's like 2 types of boba going on here, which is probably I wish I'd never found this. This is my 3rd time ever having boba in like 3 days. Like I wish I'd never discovered this. Like I need to stop. We need to put this down. We need to stop. It's good.
Oh, wait until you get somebody that you don't like as much, and then you just want to annoy. You like just blow dart the shit out of them. Oh, it's fun. Like I'm
so happy you told me that. Thank you. So I never would have thought of that.
That's the way my brain works. Like there was a time where like Del Amo Mall in Torrance, you know, by like Gracie HQ and everything like that. So the mall there had a boba place, and my dad bought us boba and whatever. And I can't remember what the hell happened with me and my sister or whatever, but we're young. She's probably middle school, I'm high school or whatever. And I wanted to just annoy the hell out of her. So like she walked away and whatever. And I think she just had got her hair pressed, and you know, I mean, like ethnic hair. Like you don't like with you know, black woman's hair and whatever. But I decided, whatever. So I just started.
You had a little death wish.
12 damn boba balls, like all over her finely pressed hair. She chased me from one end of Del Amo Mall to the other. My dad like tried to whoop my ass when I was in the car. It was awesome, but it was all worth it. Damn it! All for the boba. Doing it for the boba. People do it for the brand.
I love how you told me this. Now I'm also gonna think of you every time I have boba, and I'm gonna now probably look at potential targets every time and be sitting there like, who's my next one? Like loading up. I do have to admit, this has been, because I'm fairly new to this drink, as I was saying, this was a risky move for like a podcast, because these things could kill you. Like, if you get too excited, you just you're dead. It's
yeah.
It's definitely.
By the way, right, what flavor you got? What flavor?
Oh, I did peach black tea, and then I got regular boba, and I wanted to have like mango popping candy one. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm sold.
Oh yeah. No, do you like passion fruit?
Love passion fruit,
dude. Passion fruit, like drink with boba. Fuck, that will be your jam. Like yes. That is my like. Oh, I love it. I wish I had
a container of passion fruit in my. Passion fruit juice, like from Whole Foods, like in my refrigerator. I love passion fruit. If you need to relax later, passion fruit and Malibu, like passion fruit juice and Malibu is amazing. It's like, it's everything you want in life. Like, it's like, you don't even need an umbrella in there because it's so good. After a couple of your pretend it's in there. It's so good.
Yeah. Become like a Jimmy Buffett parrot head and shit like that, and just looking like a margarita bill. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
It's just what we do. Yeah. You know, and all of, local Alan Roque Lobo says, hey, in your first fight, getting those many takedowns, that's a hell of a way to get that W. 100%. And he just won in North Carolina like a week and a half ago. So shout out to him.
Get it, bro.
Absolutely.
That's what's up, man.
And then Haley Nicole jumps in on YouTube saying intermittent fasting, hipster dieting. whatever the fuck, but it's so true. It's so
It's
true.
like, come on, I don't want to put like that. I mean, like, it's like I'm new to LA, and I'm like, the second I was doing fasting before I got here, at least the second I got to LA and I do cooking, I'm like, you guys want a vegan dessert? Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like everywhere I've been, like, maybe you gotta search for it. It's like a necessity, and I was like, ooh. I was like, I like the challenge. Okay, so it was a lot of fun with that. I was like, but I love it out here because it's like, it really gets you like, so if you're good at jiu-jitsu or if you're good at cooking, I guess you'll probably be good at jiu-jitsu because so I like to say there's creativity and then there's adaptive creativity. It's being able to be creative doing to things that are like to having to adapt to the environment more so than the initial creative idea. So if you have something that you've been working on and it's like, all right, well, now make it vegan. You have to adapt to that, take out the products, and you like to think on the go with like high, like pressure, because especially if you're cooking in a restaurant, high speed, high pressure, they want that. When they told you they want it, even though it takes 3 hours to cook, they want it then. They want it at that very moment. So if you're good at that, I feel like the creativity between the two transfers so well. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I mean, it's weird. I've never. So I did like jujitsu. So I have these weird kind of moments, right? Where like when I attended my first jujitsu, class or gym or whatever, I went all in, paid 6 months all at once and whatever. I took some of like a tax return that year, just put it away to jujitsu and whatever, and went like 4 to 7 times a week, right? Like a madman. Both.
That's good though.
And I was very fortunate where I had a coworker who was a blue belt at the same school, right? And we would go on lunch. We'd go on lunch to go in Bakersfield and do jujitsu for an hour, come back, kind of like like towel ourselves off, kind of look presentable or whatever, do another 2 hours, and then I'd have my wife, because that dude, he actually lived in Palmdale. We were in Bakersfield, which is like, like 2 hours away and what have you. So I had the fortunate deal of living in town. So I went to night class. Like I did jujitsu work for maybe another hour or two after, and then have my wife take me back to jujitsu. That was like my life. Yeah. And then I ended up getting laid off, right? The company got bought out and whatever. So I didn't do jiu-jitsu for another 2 years, then ended up at Fight Academy in Pasadena, California with Savant Young and Heinrich Wassmer and all of them. I could actually say for a time I had none other than Thug Jitsu, Yves Edwards, MMA Pioneer, as my jiu-jitsu coach. Like that legitimately happened at Fight Academy. But it's been about 3 years since I was there last. So I go in these like weird moods. So hopefully, and that's the thing. Right before COVID, I was gonna go to Eric Ramey and Campella, two
wow.
Eddie Bravo, yeah, Eddie Bravo black belts, heel hook aficionados at Templeton, Pasadena, and then COVID hits. Like I finally got like all of the ducks in a row and changed and whatever, and then COVID, fucking A, just saying.
just to hit you just right, like timing wise. Yeah, that very good like very good schools and instructors you're going under though. It's like you're not like you're going for like creme de la creme training, like, which is very good. Like some people, they'll take the easy route. Like I'm not downplaying any gym, because I honestly don't personally know any gyms like this. This is all through the grapevine. But there's gyms where it's like they just universalize in all self-defense, and you could get a blue belt in like 7 months if you just show up. But it's not going to be a blue belt. It's going to be a little faded of a coloring going on there.
No, 100%. Well, the thing about me is I kind of, so the gym, and I'll shout them out. The gym that I went to, in Bakersfield was, True Jitsu. It's now called True Jitsu, but like Matt and Jill Baker, they're a husband and wife team that are both John Jock Machado black belts, husband and wife, and all of their kids. They've got 3 kids. Kylie, she's done a bunch of like fight to wins. And then like they've got two other like younger kids, but they're all studs. This crazy, crazy talented family and what have you, right? So like even that, like I was even there the day that Jill got her black belt when John Jock came up from like the Valley area of California or LA up to Bakersfield with James Zabalos, and I was there when she got her black belt. So it's cool. So I've been very fortunate just to be in like places, and then my kind of wanting to get like legit training was I remember there was a John Jock affiliate, right, that had come to town to like. I mean, I think there was like a IBJJF, deal at Long Beach, like at the Pyramid or something like that. So some an affiliate school had come over to train with us, kind of in preparation for that, that tournament, right? So they came, and I still am like a no stripe white belt, right? Just no stripe white belt, whatever. I mauled like 8 of the blue belts, right? Even like I mean, didn't get subbed at all with some of their purple, even, right? So I was just like, whoa, there is levels to this shit. Just because you're an affiliate of the same school or whatever doesn't mean that you're gonna, have the same training.
That
Absolutely.
apple can roll pretty far from that tree, man. That tree is on a hill. Yeah, no, it's weird. Like I'll go to gym sometimes, and I'll go with like brown belts, and like I'm a purple belt right now. But honestly, it's like I was a blue belt for 5 years because I switched. I moved around a lot. I didn't really have much gaps in training. I just went to 4 different gyms within 5 years, so no one was like, I'm giving you these because like they really want to see you like for a good amount of time. Like I got stripes from one, stripe from the other, but not like no one was giving me the purple belt, especially because I was moving so much. But then I'll go like I'll be like when I was a purple belt going to these gyms, I'm first like brown belts, and I'm like, how do you have a brown belt? like who what is the criteria? What is this leveling up system that you guys have going on here? Because something's not playing out right. Like why are you like so that picture that I have on the poster where I'm screaming and I'm like really happy. I versed that guy before I got my blue belt, and he was a purple belt. And he broke his own arm. I got him into mount, fully mounted him, pulled his arm across, S mount, dragged across, went to sit back, and he had him flattened out, went belly down, and then he rolled away from it, like freaked out, postured up, and rolled away from it and popped his own arm out. How are you a purple belt? I'm not sure.
Wow, yeah. You don't turn out, you turn in.
White belt stuff. Granted, like big lights, people watching, maybe, but like, come on, like you should know better. Like, and you see that thing, you see stuff like that. It's like there's definitely not levels to the promotions, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Which I mean, to which it says of King Elefetti goes, tell us about your tournament experience. And do you have some coming down the pipeline? I mean, this is obviously pre-COVID, right?
Yes. So okay, so all right, awesome. Well, I totally sidetracked. That might happen again. Sorry, but so real quick, finished MMA real quick. Had that fight at heavyweight. Okay. I weighed in at 225. The guy was like 250. He was a little bit older. I think he was like 38 at the time, but he was a ex-Marine, and he was coming off of 3 wins. Like he has like 20 something fights, and he was doing very well. He was very technical. It wasn't like there's some guys who it's like you should be done soon. He fought 10 times after me too. Like he's fought a lot. I was able to knock him out in 30 seconds. And then I like skyrocketed, and I was like, all right, let's go. Like, let's go. It wasn't on the feet. I backed him up to the wall, to the fence, shot a double, picked him up, turned, slammed. He went to like try to get away, and then it was just ground and pound. And it was quick. And I on cloud nine. I was like, I want an MMA fight ASAP. Like, let's go. Because I didn't even get hit. I was like, tomorrow, let's go. Like, that's how you feel whenever you win anything big like that. It's like immediate, like, let's go. So my next fight was kind of, there's so much of a clusterfuck that happens in this, and this is what kind of turned me off from fighting MMA and get full-time into jiu-jitsu. And before I say the story, I got knocked out. I got TKO'd. I wasn't like out cold. It was 5 strikes, but that night I did get TKO'd. But so he missed weight by 10 pounds. Not a big deal. I let it slide. It was 185. He came up 195, 196, something like that. Which I was like, tip my own hat there, because I've coming from 280. That's the first time I weighed at 185 in my life, and didn't feel right. I was like, skin and bone is disgusting. I never will be there again. So it was the co-main event on this promotion show they were doing. So 2 fights before mine, the guy won by a heel hook, and I watched him do it, and it was great. He got up, he was hyped, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna literally do that. And guess what? I did it twice. I take him down immediately, pound him on the ground. It's going as much my way as physically possible, and then I get him in a heel hook, finish it. And he's tapping. And then the referee's looking at him. He's like all confused. He's like looking at him. The guy's clearly tapping. And the guy's like, that's illegal. Readjust. And I'm like, literally, I'm like, and then I readjust and he turns over belly down and he's verbally tapping, smacking the ground at this point. And then they stand us up immediately. I stand up. I'm thinking I'm winning. I won. I had like 4 people there. This guy, because it was I took this fight pretty last minute. So I didn't really hype it up that much. He had like 60. So it was silence in this place. When I stood up, I was like, ah! I was all hyped. My coach is all hyped. And then we turn around. I turn around and the ref's like, nope, that's illegal. Fight. And I like look at him. I was like, the other guy literally just did it 2 fights ago. And won. It was over. And he's like, no, illegal, fight. And immediately he said that, like, I put my hands up, and this guy's now walking at me. And this guy, like, huge Marine, and he has bombs in his hands. And I did probably the stupidest thing I possibly could have done. I threw a leg kick. No setup, no jab, no cross, no hook. I'm still trying to figure out what I got to do now because my whole game plan is illegal. Was illegal? I was like, what? We just went over the rules. Like, why is this illegal? I'm talking fast now because I'm still confused about all of this. So I throw a leg kick, and he, very good striker, steps back, and I'm like overextended now. We see people throw a leg kick, and they're like now lands in front of them. They're kind of like off balance. Immediately storms me, just pa, 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 pa. And it was like 30 seconds of me just getting teed off on. So then they finished the fight, right? Signed bout agreements, and I don't know how it works in California or wherever everyone's watching this from. One was from North Carolina. Once again, congrats on the win. But you sign like a bout saying like what happened. I go to sign it, and it says I got TKO'd at 3 minutes and 9 seconds of the first round. The round is only 3 minutes long. It's only a 3-minute round. And I'm like, so then my coach flips out. He's like, how are you going to have him sign this? Like, this doesn't even make sense. So we didn't sign it. We ended up submitting it with video and everything, and it got overruled to a no contest. But long story short is they really wanted to promote this guy that I was fighting. Mm-hmm. He was a big sellout, 50, 60 tickets. I had my parents, once again, the greatest people in the world. They were at everything. They were at MMA fights. They're still cage side just because they love me so much. They want to see everything goes, and they'll support me in everything I do. I'm in California now. They're in New York, and I still feel the love. It's magnificent. But what's it called? So this guy, 4 people, 50, 60. So that's kind of was gonna be their way of doing it. And the way that I knew this promoter was like not friends with me, but he was friends with my coach. And they're not friends anymore because my coach really liked me, and he's like, "You did my fighter like really dirty there." Like, for starters, the submission wasn't illegal, so the fight should have been over right there, like at that point. Let alone, and then for me to then take an extra 9 seconds of damage just to seal the deal, 7 seconds of damage. Because keep in mind, like, the second I threw that kick, there's like 20 seconds left in the round, 20-something seconds, and he just bombs for 30 seconds. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, so and then some, like, little, like, sprinkling on top. So then I was like, nah, I'm done with that. Because I don't want to, like, I'm just going to do this jiu-jitsu stuff. I'm not getting punched in the face. I'm better in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get done dirty like that. That's kind of how I felt, you know?
Well, that's a fucking good way to feel. I mean, like 90% of the reason why I do interviews and podcasts, I don't like get punched in the face. I grew up sounding like this in Inglewood. Yeah, I've had my share of getting punched in the face. I'm good, totally good. That Bushido way of the warrior, that's awesome. Fuck no, I'm good.
Like, I heard that. I'll grapple the shit. I'll cuddle you to death on a mat, like into submission. But that punching stuff, no. We're done with that. Like, because especially like I worked so hard for that. I made weight. I did everything right. And it's like, nah, you're gonna die.
Yeah. Like legit.
Yeah. I had no idea what to do there, but so I get out. So
I mean, what was that
at the time of that? After that MMA fight, I've already done like at least 8 to 10 jiu-jitsu tournaments from not really IBJJF, which is I'm kind of disappointed at because at the time I just went with the cheaper ones because I'm sure there's not many people who fight and do jiu-jitsu who say, I'm stacked in cash right now, so I can just throw it down on everything. So we did the cheaper tournaments. So I was doing like the Nagas. They had there's a couple in New Jersey that were really big too, and then like they had this one Battle at the Shore, which was kind of fun. Which is like was kind of like on the beach. There's a lot of like cool ones.
Really?
I didn't get to do the beach one. I signed up for the beach one and I got hurt, but my friend did it. And I watched it, and I was like, I always want to do this. And coming to California, I assumed that this 100% would have been a thing. But you guys don't do it here. I was very, very upset to hear this. They do it on the sand, like in the beach on the sand.
Well, there's this thing called like the commission, right? I mean, there have been iterations. Like Roy Engelbright did Rumble on the Water, right? Where like literally on the parking lot of the Queen Mary in Long Beach, like he set up the cage there. So in the backdrop, you've got the Queen Mary. So it's, I mean, literally Rumble on the Water, right? And then there's a female sub-only jiu-jitsu tournament called Submission on the Shore. I believe they're Albert Tapia, who fought like literally like almost like 20 times in MMA, but he basically created that. And that was actually the last event that I went to on like the deck of the Queen Mary in Long Beach. But I mean, that was like literally 5 days before everything shut down. That was like literally the last thing that I did before COVID.
I was gonna say that was your last like glimpse of freedom and happiness. It was like
I
was like, I always wanted to do Queen Mary. No, they do the Halloween thing, right? They do like the haunted thing for Halloween. I think I've always wanted to do that. That's I think I was gonna do it this year, but then COVID.
So as somebody that so I had my high school prom there, right? I went to Inglewood High, not New Jersey, but Inglewood, California. So we had our prom there. Also in that distinction is like I had the graduation like ceremony at the Forum there in Inglewood, right? Like literally like 3 miles away. Not even that, like maybe a mile and a half away down Manchester. So like I was lucky, but I'm also part Fijian, right? And there's a story, there's a parable for young Fijian men, especially like full of testosterone and just fucking horny fucks, right? If you go to a club, and the girl that's dancing with you, like she looks way out of your league, right? Check her feet. She might be a fucking ghost. Yeah, that's Fiji shit. Like, yeah. So like
I mean, I'm
that's the
more
thing.
sold to go now, to be honest.
Yeah. So like for me, I was always told of like stories like that and shit like that. So like I don't fuck with it at all. Like not even like never have I ever. I will never fucking do that shit because I'm like I don't want to get fucking possessed. I mean like I'm pretty fucked up as it is. You know like I think that I'm still getting like those recurring effects of that that fucking judo toss on my fucking head when I was 8 and whatever. So I think I've got some residual effects, or maybe just growing up a kid of the 80s where I would perpetually get my hand stuck in a, like a Lincoln Continental door or a fucking, Oldsmobile Cutlass and shit like that. So I'm just, so
get those thoughts out of your mind so that you can just walk comfortably.
Yeah. So
I'll never forget.
Looking with the dead and shit.
Story,
I'm good.
I gotta with the
I'm good. I'll watch it. Like I mean, like MTV had that thing. Like I think it was called Fear, where they had like people. Do you know about this?
No, tell me.
In the late '90s, like this is like when this is pre Jersey Shore, like right in the midst of like Real World Road Rules, like 10 and whatever the fuck.
When they stopped making music videos and everything.
Yeah, they still played music videos, like fucking Mudvayne. That was like my deal when I was in high school. When I would wake everybody up, right?
Room Raiders and
the TV timer, right? And I knew that video was going to come on, Buzzwords video. And at 5:00 in the morning, because I was in ROTC, so I'd have to get up actually at 3 to be at school at 5. But I would fucking at 3:00 in the morning, like fucking full blast, Mudvayne's fucking dig, just boom boom yeah. I was I don't need no fucking ghosts. I'm just fucking
that's
just saying.
I remember one time, me and my friend. I have a friend. He's got multiple personality disorder a little bit. It's weird. You'll see the switch sometimes. It's pretty crazy when you see the switch. And we were smoking weed once, and he was sitting there in his chair, and he just goes, "Do you think I'm just possessed? And this is just the ghost?" Like, that fucked me up so bad, dude. I was like, "Are you?" Like, is one the ghost and the other personality is you? He had me so messed up. I don't know how much he actually believed that, but he just like how he said it was like so like, bro.
The delivery. The fucking delivery.
A little marijuana, and it's like, it's true.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, mental illness, is a chemical imbalance. So I mean, if you fucking, I'm just saying, I'm not a fucking, psychotherapist or whatever, but I'm just whatever. But going back to that, like the fear, right? So the show, they used to go to like the fucking like most haunted fucking places, right? And they would gear them up, right? It was actually like a fucking horror game show, right? They go like in teams. I think it was like teams of 2, teams of 3. Like it was small numbers or whatever. But essentially, they would do the shit like there's on the East Coast. There's this like fucking like huge penitentiary. It's the backdrop to where they filmed Godsmack's Awake. That fucking old penitentiary is like the most. I mean, it even beats Alcatraz in being like one of the most haunted fucking jails in the world, right? Let alone America, right? And they would basically gear these people up with like big ass like camera seats. This is before GoPro, and they would they would tell you the story. Like you would actually, have to read the fucking story of what happened here, right? And like in 1970, blah blah blah, fucking got like killed in the fucking electric chair after he mutilated like 800 people or whatever the fuck.
Nah, bro.
Your challenge is you have to sit in that fucking electric chair for 2 hours. Yeah, I got goosebumps when I'm fucking talking about it. That was a show on MTV. Like it was like Fear Factor but horror. Yeah, it was like so again. Like I'll watch that shit on TV. Like everybody, like like Universal fucking Studio and like fuck all that shit because I mean, there's one motherfucker that's there. he may not be acting, is what I'm saying. He might not be a cast member. So if that shit fucking shoots and whatever and fucking lands down on you and you inhabit the soul of an 80-year-old woman, fucking told you so. Fuck you.
That chair just starts out of nowhere. It's not power in that apartment. All of a sudden, you start feeling some tingling. You feel like it doesn't hurt, but you just feel like you're being lightly electrocuted.
No, the thing is, if they would be in the dark, this would be in the middle of the night, right? And then again, this is like late 90s, early 2000s, right? They'd be sitting there in the dark, right? And they would have to sit there, like literally for like, I mean, the like Fear Factor and Rogan, right? They're like, oh, you eat bull's balls, but you get like 3 minutes to do whatever the hell, whatever. No, like they would be like, sit here for 3 hours, or you survive the night in the fucking room where all the murders happen and shit like that. Like that shit.
Best case scenario, you have a flip phone with Snake or Pong on it too. There's no iPhones. There's no I would go crazy, man. That's too much. That's like scare. You ever see Scare Tactics?
Yes. Oh,
that's more my speed because it's a joke.
Yeah,
it ain't real.
Yeah, I've got a couple buddies that were on there, and yeah.
Oh, really?
So,
that's
yeah, both.
I always
both
want to
as
put my
like
mom on there.
both as like the actors, and then the
very cool.
Yeah, on both sides. So like, yeah, that one was weird. That one was, yeah, it was weird. It was weird. Even still, I get. So you're talking to a 35-year-old dude who is not, even though I've got a wife and kids and everything like that, I'm not entirely like convinced that if I turn off the light in any given room, that I might not hear a gong and hear Paul Bearer, oh my Undertaker, and fucking the dead man from Death Valley robs in and fucking electrocutes my ass. Like I'm not. I'm just saying, wrestling is real.
It's in the back of the mind still.
So I'm just saying.
The adulthood is trying to push it, but it's still in there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fun. They should do that for they should do like a Scare Tactics for like professional athletes, like big NFL players, MMA fighters, and just like that'd be great. Could you imagine is it Chandler Jones, the John Jones' brother that's in the NFL? Because he's like one of the biggest guys.
He's ginormous.
He's huge.
Yes.
Could you imagine like them scare, like he screams like a dude? That would be viral. Like they would.
So okay, like you got to do it with like a running back, right? Like you got to do it with a running back, right? Because like I think it would be absolutely fucking hilarious, right? Like they don't just run out of the room; they fucking Olympic sprint. Like you can't fucking. Like they're gone. Like they're fucking.
They hurdle out the window. Like just out the window.
Do Fear Factor with like Usain Bolt. Like do that. That'd be great. Find out what the fuck Usain Bolt is afraid of. Put that shit in a room and watch him. Like I think it'd be great.
Please time it though.
Yes,
time it because that is the new world record. That would be the new world record.
So, but like the reason why they're never gonna do like an MMA or a combat sports one, I can guarantee you. Have you ever seen Never Scare a Black Man on YouTube?
No.
Oh,
right when I get off though.
I wish I could. I'll send you the link off air because I don't have the rights and I can't play it here. But okay. It's one of the. So that's how I discovered YouTube. Is Kimbo Slice Fights and Never Scare a Black Dude. And that was both my sister showing me. The one who I shot Boba into her hair, that sister. Yes. And you'll thank me. It's like, it's 10
That's
seconds.
How she got back at you. She's like, I'm going to give you an addiction. You put something in my hair. Here's the new addiction. Here's YouTube. Because YouTube's addicting. So it's like, let that just seep in.
It's a wormhole. It's a wormhole. But I'm just saying, man. So, I mean, obviously, in terms of like, competitions. Well, so you had left MMA after that fucking. That was a fucking egregious. That was egregious. Like
was I complaining too much? I felt like I don't know. It was definitely. It gave me
you got robbed. You got robbed.
Oh, and actually, let me tell you one more thing. So this is what I had going into this fight mentally. So if I won that fight, I was going to be 3-0, right? And I wanted a submission because then I would have a decision, a knockout, and a submission in my first 3 fights. Damn. My next fight booked for that was going to be the first amateur MMA event at Madison Square Garden. That was my next booked fight. But I had to be 3-0 because my opponent was also 3-0. So when I lost that fight, I lost that one too. So then I was even more pissed. I was like, screw this. Like, now I'm definitely done. Now, no way. Not a chance.
Damn,
that
dude.
was like, that was the light.
Madison Square Garden? As an amateur?
It was in the first MMA fights ever in Madison Square Garden. Like, granted, not the first pro. UFC, I think, did that one.
Actually, Bellator. Bellator beat him.
Oh, did they? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I want to say no. You're right. That was Connor and Eddie Alvarez.
Alvarez, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that was because it was wild. I remember I was living in New York during that, and I was like, oh, this is like a whole new environment now.
Yeah, dude. I mean that, and especially so it's weird, right? The bureaucracy why MMA wasn't legal in New York. It was just due to the fact that Zuffa, the Fertitta brothers, they owned the largest non-union casinos in the world, right? And New York, as you know, is a union town, right? And union state, pro-union all the way, right? So because you don't let the unions into our casino, we're not going to let you in your MMA fights there. And you know what? The most egregious thing is in the smokers, because you didn't have, part of the commission is competent judging, right? And I know a lot of people shit on judges and everything, and there have been like crazy calls, whether it be amateur or pro and what have you, but competent judging, right? Where people know, like, hey, this guy or girl might be out or whatever the fuck, right? So there was actually, in one of those smokers, in between, what was supposed to be like Rogan's first show back in '97 to like Connor and Eddie Alvarez, in between that like 20 some odd year gap, there was a couple of people that died because, again, the referee didn't know, like, hey, this person's eyes are rolling back in their head, or they're still doing standing eights in MMA. Like, what the fuck,
Yeah, that's like the big that's like the going into like almost the argument why MMA is supposedly safer than boxing, because boxing you could be nearly concussed, get up, have 10 seconds to recover, get concussed again, pop up, have 10 seconds to recover. Versus MMA, you go down. Well, we gonna see what happens next. But all right. So let me finish my stories, just because I know I'm gonna end up sidetracking another 30 times on you. I'm sorry. So then so I finished that MMA fight. Poor taste. No mas. I'm done with this. And then I got right into jiu-jitsu. I was never stopped doing jiu-jitsu tournaments. I did the Pride jiu-jitsu tournaments, every single one. I was doing sub-onlys. I hated sub-onlys in the beginning because of my style. Now I love sub-onlys. I was all about points in the beginning, so it was like there's just more time in reality that I got to do things. But now I like sub-onlys. I did 2 super. I guess I'll say 2 super fights, but I could probably count one as one. But I had 2. One was I versed a guy, really good guy. Actually, it's funny because I ended up training in that gym afterwards, and like became buddies like through training. But it was under ECF Fight Organization. They had like MMA and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It's probably like creme de la creme of like MMA promotion, like especially on an amateur level in New York. It's definitely them or NYFE are definitely like, if you're competing in there, you're not messing around. You're trying to go somewhere with it. So the first guy versus was very, very close. Went to overtime, and then it was weird because they didn't know it was like 6 minutes. And they were like with the budget on time or something like that. Like, all right, so how do we do this overtime? Because they were assuming there's gonna be a submission. So they were like, all right, well, first takedown wins, and the biggest smile on my face. I was like, So I just had to survive basically, and then just get to overtime. But it was a very good match though. And then the next match, they put me on one fairly quickly after. Another little weirdness with this, the guy wanted to verse me because he said my style was susceptible to leg locks, which I don't know what he's talking about. I'm 5'7", I have short legs. There's not much. You gotta really get in there and work to try to get my leg. And it's a little thick. You know, it's not. I'm not susceptible to leg locks. I'm probably the worst legs to try and leg lock. So he called me out, and then the day of the event, you have like a fighters meeting where they go over the rules and everything. And since it was a mixed event, they had K1, they had MMA, they had Jiu Jitsu. You had to like do it separately. So when they came to the Jiu Jitsu guys and they had the contract and the rules, he instantly complained and freaked out because he was like, the exact leg lock that he wanted to do wasn't allowed because of the insurance. He wanted like, I think knee bars. I think he wanted knee bars, and they were only allowing certain heel hooks and ankle locks because of insurance reasons. So he was like literally an hour before the fight. He's like, I'm not doing this. He's like, this is terrible. Like, I'm done. He's like, I want knee bars. He's like, I'm not doing this unless knee bars. So then they had to sign a contract basically saying, I'm jumping ahead. We had to change the rules where now knee bars were allowed, and now they allowed slams and neck cranks because that's what I wanted. I was like, if we're going to do that, then I want slams and neck cranks. So then they allowed the knee bar. So everything goes now, but we're not going to be insured. If anything happens to us, it's on us.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the same guy who broke his own arm. So joke was on you, bro. Joke was on you. Because you could have just kept the course, and possibly the same exact thing was going to happen, and then you would have had some money coming your way there for the injury. Now, go to the Medicine. That was, he flipped out an hour before because he's like, I won't do this unless knee bars are allowed. And I was like, and in my mind, I was like, you're not going to knee bar me. Especially because you said that. I'm not going to let you knee bar me. Like, that's the stupidest thing you could have done. like, it's like saying, like, all right, I'm going to do, like, this at exact, like, come on. Like, you told me what you're going to do now. Like,
yes.
What?
That's exactly what it said.
Was that?
No, I said that's exactly it.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, all right. So smoked the guy. I took him down in 3 seconds off a single leg. It was funny because I had him in my guard, and I was like, I asked for slams to be legal. So I was like, I have to slam him at least once. Like mentally, I was like, I got to slam him once then. I can't like ask for it and then not do it. So I just picked him up straight in the air and I just dropped him back on his back, like just straight down on his head. And that's actually how I passed his guard. And I was just like, I can't like, so I was like, all right, like if you wanted to play this game, like we could have just been civil. But so that's kind of why the scream came out too. Cause it just felt so much better. Cause I was like, in my mind, I'm like, this guy's going to try to break my leg. And I'm now stupid enough to be like, I don't care. I'll cover it if it happens. Like substantial career changing injury, bring it on. Like no coverage at all, fine. So I was a huge sigh of relief of like, thank you, God. Like,
man, but yeah. I mean, there's a different mindset, right? Like, obviously there's, it's often said there's levels to this shit, but I mean, also, somebody that is an ardent, martial artist, like, and I don't know, like, I'm kind of on the fence in terms of like karate, because I don't know if karate has like, the injuries that you would sustain. Right, exactly. You're like, I don't think there's a Tai Chi person that they're like, oh, I got a fucking, like a weird ass elbow and shit like that. Like that doesn't happen. But like what like combat sports athletes do, and jiu-jitsu is a combat sport, MMA, pro wrestling, those are all combat stuff, right? And what it takes to become one of those, and especially really good at one of those, fucking A, you got to be like a mad person. Just saying.
You got to switch it. Yeah, it's and you have to have good control over that too, because if you're just revved right off the gun, then it's like, well, if the guy's a little bit more technical and relaxed, he might use that to his advantage. So it's definitely it's like as much of a chess match. That's why it's a beautiful thing, man. Especially just like, but so continuously still doing tournaments after this, and I loved it. Like I never honestly stopped. I think I had maybe a year and a half break in like 10 years. Like that's it. Like which was pretty good. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And then I went to sign up for this jiu-jitsu tournament. It was like an in-house. I was at one point I was at a UFC gym, which in New York is actually a really good gym to go to. I know the ones near me, I'm not talking bad, but you don't even have a jiu-jitsu class. So yeah, they didn't have a jiu-jitsu class. They didn't even have one. So it's like, who's going there? At New York, it's a lot better. Like you'll have legit black belts teaching and the jiu-jitsu classes, and it's definitely the most cost-effective way to train in New York. You definitely get the best bang for your buck in New York training at a UFC gym. So they had like an in-house tournament, which was pretty competitive, but in my bracket, there's only one guy. So, and the reason why mentally in my mind I'm treated as a super fight is I was 213 at the time, like right under 215, I remember. Because I had to be under 215. So I was right under 215. This guy was 440 pounds. So I was like, okay. This is a super fight to me.
Yeah.
That's a big boy.
Like, let's see how good the technique is now. Like, what the...
So yeah. I had none. I don't know what I was thinking. I shot 3 times on him. Like, because mentally I was like, do I pull guard? Do I risk pulling 440 pounds on top of me? Or do I just hope I get him off balance and just get him driving backwards? I shot twice, and he just kind of sprawled and circled out. I think he got hip to hip once, and that's why they gave him the win. But it was 0-0. And I was kind of upset about that because I was like, I engaged and was the aggressor the entire time. And if he got it because of a hip to hip, yeah, it's an advantage point. I understand. But like, I can't complain. Yeah, it's an advantage point. But fine.
Yeah.
But it's a little something for 3 shots. like it's but and then at one point we were in like an octagon for it. It was funny how it was ran. So he's not really doing much. He's just kind of being very defensive and like waiting for me, which is even worse. Because I was like, come on, I was hoping you would do something I can react.
Something, right?
So I just grabbed him and I was like, I'm gonna just get him mad. So I just got an inside grip and I ran full speed and just threw him into the cage like that. I was like, I'll just get you mad. And then he was mad. And I don't know, you know, like the collar tie-ups over.
Yeah.
He just started aggressively just doing that to me. And I just got so annoyed. I was like, please shoot, do something, try to hurt me. Like, don't just like dance and hug and caress me right now. Please, dude. I was like, I'm still trying to like figure out I still have kneecaps off of shooting on you. Please. Like,
I'm trying to think, like the last person of note that like, oh, you pissed me off, I'm going to aggressively hug you. It's like maybe Andre the Giant, right? Just bear hug the shit out of you. But like, that shouldn't be a move in like jiu-jitsu. You know, that
should like no way. If the person knows what they're doing, come on, you gotta use a little bit more. You know, gotta use a little more ammunition on some people. Yeah, they got the bulletproof vest. You gotta get the, But so after that, that was actually my last thing I did. I did one tournament before that. I came in second. I came in second twice. I usually always come in first. I came in second twice and third once. I came in second twice because of the same God. If you're listening to me and you're versing me, deep half guard. I lose every time to deep half guard. And I'm comfortably telling you guys that because I'm training it excessively at the moment. So there's no way I'm losing to deep half guard again. But I've lost twice to deep half guard. Last tournament in New York, first tournament in California. So deep half guard. It's like back to back too. It's like finals in New York, deep half guard. Finals in California. Come on. You guys are talking to each other across the country. I hate it.
Yeah, it almost eliminates any kind of like, oh, that was an isolated incident. When the exact same thing happens, it's like Dean Lister and Josh Barnett, right? Like, Lister hadn't been tapped for like 7-8 years, but what Barnett did to him was essentially the last time he got tapped out. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, man. It's I'm better now. Like, please do put me in deep half guard. I need it. But on that note, next tournament, December 12th. I kind of messed up. There was there's better ones. I think there's a much better one December 5th, and I should have dove into that one. But I'm being very selfish. December 12th, it's in the Grand Canyon. I've never been to the Grand Canyon, so it's like I'm killing two birds with one stone there. I get to go see some nice scenery and some nice tournament action. I don't know if I'm actually going to post it. I have a mental rule, and I don't know if there's not 5 people in my bracket, I'm not posting about it. Because in reality, if you see me on the podium, there's like 3 people there. I'm gonna be on the podium. I'm not trying to be that guy. Like, I didn't earn any. Like, even if I won, if there's just 3 people, I'm like, it's like, no. I need I want it to be a little competitive. I need at least a handful of people in there to feel like I earned something on it. Like, if there's me and one other guy and I get first, you ain't gonna hear it. You ain't gonna hear it because it's like I beat one dude. It's like rolling at the gym. Not degrading the person I'm versing at all, but just like it's not a tournament in my aspect. That's why I usually always post about the Open, because the Open will usually have like 8 to 10 people at least. But it sucks. Usually your weight, you have like 3 people in it, and it's like it's not really. You're gonna get on the podium. It's not very motivating.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised of like how many, and it's weird for me because like I grew up a wrestling fan, right? So I didn't medals; those don't concern me. I want my purple belt so I can compete at Naga, because what do you get as a purple belt? Yes, you get one of those. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I'm gonna pull it out, but Blake Troop, who literally has like 8 of these, he's like, here, I'm going to give this to you for motivation.
I'm going to loan it to you. I want
right?
one.
I'm going to loan it to you.
See, that's the motivation I needed right there.
Yes, exactly. And you're like, when you get yours, you can give this one back to me, right? And I was all set to do that pre-COVID, and then COVID. So there you go. But I mean, that's the thing, you'd be surprised about the people that are like, they sign up for whether it be Naga or another event, whatever, and it's like nobody in their age or weight bracket and whatever, and they will do that shit for the gram like a mother, like show their championship, show their medals and everything, the podium, and there's nobody else on the podium but them. Them. Them.
I see you. I see the people do. I mean, I'm starting out, like, I think my first tournament, there's only there's 3 of us, and I came in second. I posted about it, but like as I came to like realize, I was like, this isn't a contest unless there's like a decent amount of people going on here, like. But I don't know. I view it differently. I want myself to be the best martial artist I can be, not the best photo taker on Instagram with the most stuff possible. So I'd rather go through the dirt and just become better than just be like, well, I got first, I got second. You know what I mean? It just.
Yeah, to me, if you're gonna, and I still don't understand this, right? Or like, fighters or, just doing anything, right? Like pro wrestlers, right? Like, I don't want to go to the WWE. I don't want to become a champion. I don't want to this and whatever. Then, like, why are you doing it? Because obviously, if it's just for money, surely you can figure out a better way to make money, not getting punched in the face, not putting like hellacious smiles on your body, right? Like, basically, setting the arthritis timer, like you're fucking fast forwarding like 10 years in jiu-jitsu, right? Or any kind of like whatever. So like you want money, but you'd rather get punched in the face. You never want to be a champion. Like anybody that's doing anything, if you don't want to get to whatever pinnacle of what your sport is, why are you even doing it? Like and especially like where you can get concussions, where you can get long-term injury. Jiu-jitsu, again, dude popped broke his arm.
Like forever.
Yeah, that's it. Look, it's like you're great until sudden death, and you don't know. So like,
Never know.
I mean, when somebody like gets around my foot, I fucking tap it. I don't give a shit. I don't. My pride is not that great. I don't. Fuck it. I'm just saying.
So there is a little bit of a line between your video and mine, and it's because of this. I think it's because I do have that pride. I was in an armbar yesterday.
Okay.
Guy, big dude, white belt. Honestly, I've rolled with him a bunch of times. Like, he's not gonna armbar me. All of a sudden, in an armbar, I'm like, oh, I got out of it, but probably should have tapped. I feel fine, but you never know.
Well, again, you also are, of a belt color, right? Like, that you've kind of earned that. Like for me, like it's weird, right? So like, it's a selfish reason because like why I want to do jujitsu, like I'm just competing, not because I'm a martial artist or whatever. Like I that does not concern me at all. Like I just want a belt. Like because when I was in Inglewood, fucking daydreaming and shit and writing in my notepad, I said Adam Woods belts, right? Like, and I put my name in the center and all that. So I might fucking do Naga, hopefully win. Probably not, but it's gonna be something that'll fucking like whatever that I might end up like becoming a black belt just because I'm so like I gotta have a Naga. Like I gotta have a fucking Naga belt. Like it's an obsession.
Keep that drive though, like because that's wonderful to have. It really is. Like even like I think that you're gonna win it. Come on, man. Don't give me that. Nah, might not. You're gonna win it, man. Especially if you put in that time, because you're gonna have to put in that time to get to that point. And you gotta think of it like that too. I know like you're thinking of it like now, like I can't win that, but you haven't put in the time yet. When you get there, you can be like, I got this. Yeah, just have that mentality the whole way.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely takes like experience and like when you get to that point, like I could see where ego does, but like I don't know, like fucking having a family, like I want to be a good dad, I want to be a good husband, I want to fucking make money off of the fucking podcast, like that's it. So like if you're like tap me, cool, fucking great, okay, let's go, because again, like I'm fucking tunnel vision, like, and I mean, just an example. I mean, just since July, right? This is me going down wormholes, right? If I'm not posting memes, I'm fucking doing podcasts, and like just since July, we're at like over 200 episodes.
I have to say, I give you that cap, dude. You have some of the best memes in the business, though. I have screenshotted and stolen a handful of those memes and sent them to people. So they are so good, some of them. Oh man, you did that for a minute. You're doing the face swap ones for
yes.
Some of them were so good.
Thank you.
You actually look like Rogan, dude. You actually look.
Dude, it got so bad though. So I go down wormholes, right? I just fucking let me see where the fuck this goes, and everybody's like in their political blah blah whatever the fuck. I'm like podcast. I became like that cat in the native D from Joe Dirt. Snakes and sparklers. That was me. That's Jabril Woods. Fucking podcasts and memes. Podcasts and memes. That was all I was doing. Every time I see somebody like, I'm an unfriend you, oh, fuck it. Meme, right?
Keep it going.
Yeah. I fucking just drop them, right? Yeah. I've actually got people unfollow me, unsubscribe from the fucking podcast, and contact my wife like, you need to come get your husband. And I was just like, but nobody's saying the dumb shit you're fucking saying. Come on.
Let me live. Come on.
Yeah, and none of it was offensive. Nothing like, I mean, I've only posted the stuff that I can post, right? That won't get me divorced. That won't get me deplatformed or whatever. The shit that ends up in my inbox, fuck, man. I'm just saying, right? So, no misogyny, no anti-LGBTQ, none of that. Like, why? Don't do that. Nothing against anybody's deity, whatever the fuck. No, none of it. Just fucking dad jokes and fucking face swaps.
Yeah,
and I got fucking unfollowed. I got unfollowed, dude.
Yeah, that's I definitely I gotta get in the meme game. I gotta start making memes because I was like, I got these. I'll send them to my friends like that's funny, and they'll be like, is it? Is it funny?
Well, and that's the other thing, right? Like sending memes to your friends. You're like, you don't know, like, yes, you're friends, but you might not have like the same sense of humor. So I posted on my wall, right? My fucking deal, because again, if you might like it, whatever, either you can like it or you fucking keep on going. Like, and I'm not doing it for likes. I'm just like, hey, this is the shit. And that's where like if there's anything that I've thought about by doing anything or creating a brand, that's the only fucking thing that I might have put like a minuscule amount of thought in. Like according to Woods, right? You were talking about all the people and whatever, but you're just as important as like a Killer Kelly from wrestling or Josh Barnett or to me, because again, it's according to me. People that I think are cool, shit, I think it's cool. I like MMA and pro wrestling. We're gonna get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right? But what if we don't? What if we fucking go down the music wormhole? What if we talk about you're from fucking New York? What do you think about Bruce Springsteen? I don't know. Like we can go down fucking wormholes and it all relates because it's according to what the fuck I'm thinking. Just saying. I think you're fucking cool. Why not have you in the podcast?
So I actually hate Bruce Springsteen. I'm sorry. That's Jersey, man. That's Jersey.
Yeah, I know.
We like enemies. I don't know. My best friend growing up is from Jersey, and he loves Bruce. And I think that's partially why I don't like Bruce, because he is just so for it. I was like, I gotta be against you a little bit on something. So that's your Jersey stuff. Is that Bruce stuff? I got Billy Joel. Billy Joel's my man.
I fucking like them both. I don't give a shit. I mean, you listen, fucking Billy Joel's River of Dreams, fucking A. I would put that song itself or that album against like anything. That's one of the fucking greatest albums ever fucking made. But for me, Bruce Springsteen, I don't even listen to all the old shit. Like whatever. I'm just talking from like The Rising on. Like, and he just dropped their fucking album, whatever. Like that is
Bruce
my
is still
shit.
putting
Like,
out music?
yeah, Bruce fucking dropped an album.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What?
Yes.
Wild.
70 fucking years old. No, man, like I gotta give credit where credit's due. Fucking Bruce Springsteen, right? Like that dude, if he plays a 3-hour show, it's him. It's fucking him. Like he's running around. Like I saw him. I was doing security at the old LA Sports Arena, and it was like I want to say it was like the night before Halloween. Like so, it was the 29th and the 30th at the Sports Arena, and now it's like they demolished it. Now it's like the Bank of California Center and shit like that. But he played 2 fucking straight nights, 3 hours each night. And he was on stage the whole time. Even the fucking band, they fucking, he's got a fucking 30-piece band. They fucking took sabbaticals. He was on, when shit was like whatever, he would do fucking acoustic. He was on stage for 3 hours.
That's insane.
He was running around the fucking stage. And like, fuck, man. Like,
how old is he right now?
I'm just saying. I like him. You don't have to. That's cool. But I like Billy Joel too, so fuck it.
But like the difference with Billy Joel's just like he's still selling out concerts and he's not even putting out new music. I'm amazed that Bruce is still putting out new music because he could see that. I love artists that are like that because Bruce could have just sat back and just been like, I did enough. Like I'm good. I could just keep doing the same songs I've been doing my entire life, sell out every stadium and move on. But no, he's like, no, I'm gonna still test the boundaries of what I think I can do. I'm going to try to push myself and make hit after hit. I give the guy respect. He's a phenomenal musician. I think the only reason I don't like him is because my dad hates him and my best friend loved him. So I was like, naturally, it's my guy. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, that's Bruce, right? But like even weirder, right? And I'm not a Beatles fan, but fucking Paul McCartney, right? Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. Like Paul McCartney put out a fucking album last year, Egypt Station, and it probably like I was bumping that in the fucking car. Like there's this come on over or some shit like that. That shit is like it's dope. It's fucking dope. And so like I don't know. Those people are weird. But again, like fucking Rogan signing $100 million with fucking Spotify and whatever, and he's still fucking doing podcasting. He's still doing the UFC. He's still doing comedy. Like
Wow.
that's the shit. Like I want to do that, right? Like to find fucking something that you will fucking do until you're old and fucking gray, and like just do it. Just fucking do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Yeah, really how it should be, you know. And then like, and to keep that passion and the love for something for that long too, you know. It's be beautiful. That's me with cooking right now. That's what I'm really hoping for. Like we need to end this lockdown like now. It needs to be over right now.
Which I gotta fucking ask, dude. Like, how the like because I mean we talked a lot about like their MMA and jiu-jitsu career, but you're also like a fucking dope ass pastry chef, and right now there isn't a better fucking comfort food than anything pastries. Carbs, just fucking give it to me.
Yes, that's how I look at. So that's probably why. All right, so I always loved cooking, and I was like, I want to get into cooking, but you didn't have to go to school. It's like I strongly suggest if you want to go into cooking, you don't go to school because I've noticed most people who do, they burn out quicker. They don't want to do it much longer because they're doing the same job as someone next to them who didn't go to school. So they get kind of upset and they get bitter over that. I've noticed that time after time in a lot of restaurants I've been in. I started off at a PF Chang's. I know it's not as prevalent out here, but in New York, there's a good amount of
we got PF Chang's.
China Bistro.
Yeah.
My job was cutting in the very beginning. Every day, I had to cut a big ass bag of red onions, a big bag of yellow onions, and a big bag of green onions every day. And that's when I was like, I'm gonna do pastry because this hurts. No more. I'm done with onions. Onions were good. Like you don't like people are like, oh, you get used to it. You don't. I worked there for like 6 months and I cut 3 bags. You did day 1 to the day I left. It was terrible every time. So I moved to Brooklyn, and ironically they opened at perfect timing when I moved there. A Soho House right in Dumbo, which is one of the nicest areas in Brooklyn you can be in. It like overlooks the water. You got the Brooklyn Bridge, the Williamsburg Bridge, and you're in the dead middle of it, and you're overlooking Manhattan. You used to see the Twin Towers, but now it's the Freedom Tower. You'll see the Statue of Liberty in the background, the World Trade Center. Everything you want to see is right there. So if you're visiting New York, Dumbo, New York, that's where you want to be. You'll get the most out of that trip. And at that time, they were hiring all positions, and I was like, I'm going to go into pastry. And I got super into like baking at that time as well. And my they had what was it? A very good training process. Essentially, I don't want to say it was a training process because it's kind of like they were experimenting with a lot of things in the beginning. Like we had a pastry chef in the beginning who made the menu, and then they changed it, and then a new guy came in, he changed it. So we were doing a lot of different things in the beginning. So it kind of like got me familiar with a lot. In the very beginning, got me very comfortable in a lot of different things. And then they hired this one pastry chef who was the first real permanent one that was actually teaching us. This guy named Adam Marca, who Gaystry on Instagram, one of the best, I think, Instagram names ever. He's so funny. He is an amazing pastry chef. He was from California, moved to New York, just moved back to California now. He's the pastry chef at a restaurant that's opening very soon called Soulmate. Was just in the papers actually, I think last week. It's gonna be very high expectations for this place. And I learned under him for about a year and a half. And then there's this other lady there named Stephanie who's been doing pastry for 20 years. And she showed me a bunch of stuff as well. And then when I would go home, I was always baking. I owe it for everyone. I loved it. And then I moved back home to Long Island, left the Soho House after a couple of years. And there was a steakhouse, this steakhouse called Harley's Steakhouse. And they were looking for everyone. They were just opening as well. And at that time, my Instagram, I had a lot of like pastries and a lot of like desserts. So when I talked to them, they were like, well, what can you do? Like, what do you do? I was thinking I was just gonna be a line cook cooking steaks. And then I showed them my Instagram. They're like, could you make that? Like, could you make that for us? And I was like, yeah. And they gave me 8 or 9 different things that they wanted me to make. And I never made a couple of them. I did some research in cookbooks on how to do things. I get like physical books and I actually read back is like probably the only time in my life I was reading. It was wonderful. And then I got really into making desserts. And we were like changing the menu all the time, and it was doing very well. And I'm not trying to like toot like my own horn, but I just became a natural in it. Like I was looking up different flavor profiles, things that go well with each other. I was doing funky things, like we had an infused olive oil store, and I was making olive oil cakes. I made like this blood orange olive oil cake with cream cheese frosting, and like I made peaches that like I cooked them in a simple syrup with basil and orange zest and white wine. Like I got really, really into it out of nowhere, and it was so much fun. And then from there, the restaurant itself didn't do as well as they originally planned, so they had to let me go from there. It hurt, and then but that kind of opened the opportunity at that point where I was like, I'm gonna go to California and let's see what's going on out there and have fun with that. And when I came to California, I had no job. I was working at, I don't even know if you know this place, La La Land, the souvenir shop on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right across from the Men's Funny Theater, right?
Yeah, I went from being a pastry chef and loving my life to folding sweaters. It was like, but stepping stones. The main issue is I didn't want to settle anywhere. I all the places I was like trying out at, like I went to Mama Shelters, a couple other, what was the other restaurant I went to? It was another hotel-ish restaurant. I forgot the name of it. It was in, I think a Marriott though. But I didn't like any of them. Like I want to be here long-term. And then, someone who I was training with, he was a very frequent goer to the Chateau Marmont, and he was good friends with the manager. And they were like, hey, I got this guy. He's looking for a job. Do you want to put him in there? And they were like, yeah, sure. We're looking for line cooks, though. So they put me in as a line cook. I was making salads and everything. But I didn't mind that at all because it was very high elevated cooking, very high class clientele. It was a lot of fun. Like I went there, and in the interview, she's telling me how they do the Jay-Z and Beyonce host their after party for the Grammys there and everything. Like I knew walking in there, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like Soho House was one level. This is another level. So all right. We'll see what happens here. I don't hold things back. I usually speak my mind. So I was talking shit about their desserts about a month after I'm in there because they were getting it outsourced from a bakery. And I was like, no. I was like, this is a dry brownie. I was like, we could just make brownies for cheaper. And they, after like 3 or 4 months of me doing that, they were like, all right, so we'll give you a tryout as the pastry chef. They almost downplayed it like it wasn't going to go well. Like, we'll give you a tryout. And if things go well, you can be the pastry chef making desserts. If they don't, quiet. Because it was like I would plate everything differently. Like I would plate it nicer than everyone else. I was like, no, this is how it should look. Like it looks sloppy. Like I was really being that annoying dude that they probably didn't like. But then they loved me because they're like, all right, make 9 things for us. So I went downstairs and they gave me like a week to like think about it. And I made 9 things. And then they loved everything but I think one thing on there. And they were shocked. They're like, this is really, really good. And I was like, thank you. And I was like really happy. I was getting like great feedback from all of it. My cheesecakes were the things I was killing it the most. Like I was making like wild cheesecakes. So then they're like, all right, we'll take this. And they made the dessert menu from there. And it kind of took off from there. And then they were like, okay, well now can you do morning pastries? And now can we do a seasonal dessert menu? And can we do desserts for the parties? Can we do cater? Like it like was snowballing effect. And they're like, can you do the bars? Like they had a separate bar off location. Can you make their menu too? So then I was like, all right, I'm good at this. That was like the first time in my life. Like I won't say I'm good at this. That was like the first time in my life. I was like, I'm really good at this. Cool. Like I'm getting this like, right. They want to get me on Chopped on Top Chef to kind of reboost it. I was like, all right, dope. Like, I'm actually someone that could be doing waves in this cooking stuff. Like, so I was really excited. And I was like, because, I mean, you cook at all? You cook a little bit? Not, Postmates?
That's why I marvel. That's why I marvel at people that can do shit like cooking and fucking getting punched in the face. Some like I know I can get punched in the face, but like like the people that do it, I marvel. Like I love, and I laugh at people on that nailed it show and whatever. But I know I'd be like 80 times worse. Like that shit. But I mean, yeah, I mean, like I do some things. Like
I'm going to
like
help you.
there's a curry that I can make. I've got staples.
I'm going to help you.
Okay.
I'm going to make you the best chef. I'm telling you. Your wife is going to be wowed. I got you. I'll send you cheat codes. I'll send you, like, first cheat in the world. If anyone who's struggling with cooking and you like meat, if you're a meat eater, buy a sous vide. It is basically it heats the water to a perfect temperature, and you put the meat product in a plastic bag, season it, put herbs in it, however you want, and you put it in the bag. No water is going to get in the bag, and you put it in the water. If it's meat, say you want it medium rare, it'll be the exact perfect temperature, fully. The whole thing will be red. It's amazing on pork. And then, like, afterwards, you take it out of the bag. It'll look a little gross and gray, but when you go to sear it on the pan, it'll sear almost instantly because they'll be at a higher temperature, so it sears quicker. And you'll get perfect meat every single time. I just made last night, I made this pork shoulder. I put a pork shoulder in there with a Jamaican jerk rub, like a Scotch bonnet type of rub on it. I just put it in the bag, let it cook up, and it was, when I pulled it out of the bag, I could basically pull it right from where it was at that, like just juicy pulled pork. Put it in the oven, let it crisp up a little bit, still perfect. And I made a sandwich with that pulled pork. I put some brie cheese on some sourdough bread, toasted up the bread. Of course, I toasted up the bread. Put some brie cheese on, and then I made a pineapple, strawberry, mango jam with some thyme in it, the herb thyme.
Yeah.
And I put that on top of the brie cheese with a baby spring mix and that pulled pork. Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
I died right there. But it's like, it's very easy to do, though. Because in reality, I could have just taken the pork, put it in the bag, used whatever pre-mixed seasoned dry rub I like, and just put it in that bowl bag of water, take it out when I'm ready. It's perfect. It's amazing. That's definitely, I'm gonna help you out.
That's a hack. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. Fucking try it.
I mean, great. And for people who don't eat meat, there's other things for the sous vide, but sous vide is really just for meat and fish. It's amazing for fish. Vegetarian and vegans, like I have a lot of tips for that too. But like the sous vide for meat eaters has definitely been the biggest hack I've ever discovered in my life. It's ridiculous, like the things that it puts out.
Ooh, send links, because I'm gonna dazzle the wife. I'm sure that I can do that for like Christmas. Like, I cooked.
Yeah,
and I can kill everyone.
Always gotta look for new surprises. Like
Just saying, yeah.
But right now though, with cooking with me, I'm still waiting for Chateau to reopen. They're, I'm if they don't open by January, I'm going to look for elsewhere. Because like at this point, I'm just doing Postmates, and like I'm working at a VA hospital just to essentially get by, make ends meet. But it's not what I want to be doing. Like I want to be back in the kitchen. Like it's like anything. You can't get better at a talent unless you're consistently doing it every day. And like high level cooking under pressure, under like celebrities is like that drills it. Like when I was working at Soho House, we did a catered event for Alicia Keys. She threw a surprise party for her husband who's Swiss Beats. And they rented out the whole restaurant. We had to do like catered dessert trays. And at that point, like you have every star there. They had Lil Wayne in there. We're not allowed to go out there and see them. This is obviously like hush hush type of thing. We see them as they walk in, but they're at a private event. But like anyone who you could name, I don't want to say anyone. I don't think Drake was there, and that would probably be the first one people would have named, especially since I was talking hip hop. it was like a list of who's who, and that was like my first like exposure. Like, okay, this is what fine dining is. And then it was funny because it's super pressure. I'm like freaking out. Everything has to be perfect, right? And the guy whose party it is, Swiss Beats, he comes in. He's so drunk. He's so drunk. He couldn't. He had to sit down at like one of the tables, and we had to feed him pizza. He had to eat before he could even go in the party because of how drunk he was. they're like, so the party's all set. We got everything set up in platters, and then a waiter comes by. He's like, hey, so I need 1 cheese pizza. And I'm like, for what? And they're like, the pre-party snack, which usually means they can't make it into the party unless they get a little bit of that alcohol out of the stomach first, you know. But it was fun. It was definitely a lot of funny. I was like, so it kind of normalized it a little bit for me too, which was nice. It was like, okay, like the guy whose party it is, like every person who gets too drunk he's too drunk on his birthday. Like everyone in the world whose birthday it is, that's how it like normalized it a little bit for me. So it's like, even like the biggest event I worked for at the time, it was like, these are normal. We're all normal. We're all people at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Granted, he makes millions, I make hundreds. Like we're all people in the long run. And like, which kind of made it comfortable in Chateau, because people go to Chateau and they freak out because they're cooking for everyone. Like,
yeah.
I know I made the biggest ass of myself there once because probably one of my favorite musicians of all time, just because, especially when I grew up, is Kid Cudi. He like his music at the time, I was in high school, hit me like perfectly timing wise. He's up there in like the top 5. He's a regular at or what he at least was at some point. They're changing the whole system on how they do things at Chateau, so I don't even know who's going to still be there. But I knew he was in the dining room, and I wanted to see him. And you're not allowed to walk through the dining room, so I tried to make a reason on why I was walking through the dining room, which is already like, what you doing? And then where I messed up, where I still would have been fine, because I've walked through the dining room, but you have to walk. You just walk. There's no. So as I'm walking, I do want to. Nope. That I stopped for 1 minute. I turned my head back to see if I could see him in the corner, and immediately the guy at the front desk like, "Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again." And I was like, okay. Like, you're not allowed to have your phone out in most of if you take your phone out, they're gonna fire you. Because like everyone's there, like you're not allowed to take pictures. You're not like they're there to like they'll usually like some of them make a lavish thing when they come. They'll make a whole entourage as they go there, but they're going there for the privacy of like, we're here with other celebrities who are not going to be trying to take our photo, not going to want our autograph. And this guy gave me that whole rundown, like a whole speech, and just I felt terrible because I knew I was like, I shouldn't have done that. That was bad. And then 2 days later, I run into literally my favorite musician of all time, Lenny Kravitz. And I can't even say anything to him because I'll lose my job. I opened the door for him. I held the door open, and he's like, "Thanks, man." And he just walked by. I was like, it's the only time I've ever been starstruck. I was just like, and he just flew away.
Yeah, that is a big one, man. I mean, the first time that I lived in LA since I was 9, but never been to the Palladium, right? And I think it was like 2 years ago, took my wife to see Lenny, right? Which is awesome to see him at the Palladium because, Lenny grew up here, his, mom on the Jeffersons and, what have you. So he grew up here going to shows at the Palladium. To see Lenny at the Palladium, that's one thing. It got even better because when we entered the Palladium, if you've ever been, the Halloween Palladium, it looks like it's like a moment in time, right? Where they pretty much like cater to like what you have read about the Palladium and the bands that have played and the flyers that are whatever. They play to that part of your fandom. So I went to the bathroom and I saw that Slash and Miles Kennedy were playing from a flyer. And literally before I even hit the damn the restroom stall, I purchased the tickets for the next weeks, like whatever. And again, Slash, who grew, his mom, Ola Hudson, made, stuff for David Bowie and had a tryst with Bowie and all that stuff, right? Made clothes for Parliament Funkadelic and everything. Yeah, that's Slash's mom, right? And you know that him and Steven Adler, and the guys from Guns probably went to the Palladium to see shows themselves. So to see two little sons of Hollywood back to back at the Palladium in like literally the center of Hollywood, couldn't get any better. And I turned in like Marv was like, what in the fuck? Because like if you know the Palladium seating, there is no seating if you're on the floor. So it's just like open whatever. So like I was made a beeline to the front. I think we might have been theoretically third row, right? And like Lenny hit something and he was like behind one of the amps, but then we locked eyes and I might have just like, dude, that was it. Same thing happened the week after with Slash, this exact same spot, literal the same exact spot, and I locked eyes with Slash, and in my mind I'm going like Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolvers, Slash Snake Pit, blah blah blah, and it's just and just a side note, Miles Kennedy might be the one of the greatest frontmen in terms of music that I've ever heard and doesn't get credit for, because obviously he was a part of Alter Bridge, with the Mark Tremonti from Creed, the guitarist from Creed, but then he joins up with Slash, right? So to play with Slash, right, you've got two distinct catalogs with two iconic singers. You've got Guns N' Roses with Axl Rose, and you've got obviously Velvet Revolver with not just Velvet Revolver, but STP, Stone Temple Pilots, Scott Weiland. I tell you, Mike, Pitch Perfect. Can Miles Kennedy sing both Velvet Revolver's catalog as well as GNR's catalog, in addition to their own shit? Yeah. Like, this is the Starlight. Slash and Miles Kennedy's Starlight. And tell me, in terms of the range that he has in his voice, he starts off with a whisper, but by the time he hits the fucking hook, that motherfucker, his vocal cords are like napalm. Like, fuck.
How does it?
Miles Kennedy. You need to learn about that.
I'm going to check that out like, ASAP. So I have the biggest, largest respect for musicians because, like, you saying how you respect people who cook and get punched in the face because you're not about it. I can't sing. I have absolutely no musical talent whatsoever. So if you can even like, I can snap and whistle, you can do one step above that, I respect the hell out of you. Like, you are amazing people. And honestly, like, musicians do more of an impact on this world than anything. Because think of how many musicians today that are no longer with us, but we still turn to their songs for moments to bring us joy, motivation, get us through hard times. We need that. So musicians, more so than anything, thank you for all of that, because it is wonderful. It's so beautiful. Like music, I wish I could sing. I wish I could play guitar, but I just want people and cook food for you.
My dad's a musician. I mean, he was and played like literally we're talking like Reagan era, like 80s and shit, where people were losing their jobs and all that stuff, and the what is it? The stock market took a shit in 87, and my dad was pulling in like a G, just working Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That was it, right? And you would think with some of that musical prowess, it would have kind of hit me, especially the fact that I didn't get the growth spurt. He was 6'4", I stand about 5'9". I was like, fuck, at least I get the music. No, doesn't. But I mean, I use a microphone for a completely different reason. So there's that.
Still a performer, still entertainer, stage. It's definitely, it's that's upsetting though, man. Your dad probably could touch you so much music wise too. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. But I gotta ask, since we're in the music question. So I don't want to say like top 5, right? But like in terms of like bands or artists that have influenced you, well, let's do 5. Who would they be? And we're not talking about greatest of all time. You can mention albums, but let's go music.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Ooh. Oh, wow. Almost took you down. Ooh.
You're
Wow.
good.
See, I was thinking so hard that I went Magneto there and just
See,
like
Jedi mind
push
tricks.
the whole tripod. With
Jedi
like,
mind trick. Powerful fucking mic.
ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, like, I like inspired me. That's gonna be tough. Like, there's a lot of bands that definitely like the happiness of them got me through. Like, Kid Cudi definitely influenced me a lot because it was really nice because he kind of laid it all out vocally, like mental things he was going through, and it like almost seemed like there's always a light at the end of the tunnel on it, and it was very like he's very inspiring kind of music. I know it comes off dark and depressing, but when you're in that mindset ever, you kind of need that and hear someone else going through it to get out of it. Like I know like a lot like what's the triple extension, the one that died I think in Florida.
Yeah, I know his story. I never listened to his music.
Not much either, but I know a lot of my friends were giving him like a lot of crap because it's like, oh, it's a lot of suicidal depression type of stuff. But it was like, that's because y'all ain't going through that. Now, I never really was extremely suicidal, but everyone's been sad and depressed. Sometimes it's nice to hear someone else going through it to kind of reel you back in a little bit, because like if you just try to fabricate and have like, I'm sad, I'm just gonna listen to happy music. You're just covering it up. You're not really putting yourself into a state where you can address the issue. So Kid Cudi, definitely, he's up there. I got to put Miguel up there just because he taught me how to love, man. Like that, between him and like so much. Like I love Miguel. I've probably listened to every one of his songs. Mac Miller, I would only put there just because he was the same age as me. So it was like when he graduated high school, I graduated high school. So he was making songs about graduating high school as I was like I'm on senior skip day listening to senior skip day because it just came out by Mac Miller. So that was kind of like the weird one on that one too. I always loved the classics though. Like growing up, like I was a huge Led Zeppelin fan, like incredibly huge Led Zeppelin fan. Loved the classics like Al Green. I always loved like that deep like Etta James is like one of my favorite singers.
Yeah.
I only saw 2 stars on the Walk of Fame. One of them was Etta James. I love that deep, raspy voice sometimes. And it hits me like so hard. Like, which one? What's her name? I'm drawing a blank. There's this one singer, I just came across her. And, it's not Alicia Cara, but she has like the same voice as her almost.
Okay.
I just got one song by her and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna look up her recently. But that's always been like one like tone I've always drawn to is like that deep, almost like that raspiness to it.
Do you know Bobby Womack?
Tell me one more. Bobby
Womack.
No, I'm gonna add that though.
Oh, I'm gonna send you some shit. Okay, like for real. Like, so first off, Alicia Cara, right? So there's John Mayer did like this like Bud Light tour or whatever. Like I want to say like early last year, if not late 2018, where Bud Light just like they just threw fucking random like big bands in like a fucking club setting and they fit the bill and shit like that. But John Mayer fucking plays like his entire catalog, but invites Alicia Cara. And they sing her song, I'm not afraid of letting go, a stay, right? Listen, I mean, the arrangement, just talking arrangement and shit, if you don't care about like musical instruments, because I like live music. I want my fucking musicians to play instruments, but like if you're looking at like Depeche Mode, the fact that they just fucking make sounds, like the Alicia Cara, that stay version, the album version, it's okay, right? But fucking John Mayer does John Mayer things to fucking John Mayer shit. So he does this to fucking Alicia Cara, and like all the instrumentation that was probably done in a fucking like a computer and shit like that, he plays live, and they do a fucking duet. They make that song into a duet.
Okay, I love John Mayer. I gotta hear this.
Yeah. Oh fuck. John Mayer and fucking Eric Clapton. A lot of people like, nah. But again, remember, fucking Layla was about his best friend's chick. right? His best friend was fucking George Harrison of the Beatles. So again, when yes, that's what Layla's about. Layla's about fucking George Harrison's wife, and they lived literally like next door neighbors. And he was Clapton's drug abuse got fueled because again, he's next door, and what he thinks is the love of his life is banging his best friend, but is also her husband. That's what Layla is about. That's why it starts off fucking crazy, and then that piano interlude. That's the reason. Yeah, I'm just saying. So again, John Mayer banging all the
new outlook right now.
starlets over the course of like a 15, 20-year career. Again, him and Clapton aren't too far apart. And Maris played with Clapton. He's played with B.B. King. When John Mayer wasn't doing his like summer tour, he was touring with fucking the Grateful Dead, Dead and Company. Like that's
So, real quick, Grateful Dead, one of my favorite bands as well. Scarlet Begonias, one of my favorite songs. My dad, huge Deadhead. I can pull out my closet. There's like 8 Grateful Dead T-shirts. When I say, and I grew up like that. When I say I need those Grateful Dead Nikes, I need them, but I can't spend more. I will never spend. It's $2,000 for the shoes. That's steep. Couple of hundred, I would have bit the bullet and been happy to play. You're going over $1,000 on these shoes? Like, I don't know if you've seen them. They're so cool.
All right.
There's like a green one. There's a yellow one. You look up the Grateful Dead collab with Nike, and they got the dancing bears inside the shoe. The tongue of it is fur. It is like the brightest colored Nike you'll ever see in your life, but it's $2,000.
And that's not even the resale. That's not even the resale price. That's the legit out of the box.
No, I think that's like them being resold, because I think they sold for. You can get certain colors for like $800 because there's 3 colors. There's green, yellow, and orange. Ideally, I want the orange one.
Oh, these are fucking sick.
The orange one reminds me of Nickelodeon too, so it's a double whammy for me. So I was like, I want the orange one, but I'm not the only one that thinks that way, because that's the most expensive color is that orange one. But I love those. I want those shoes so badly.
But even they got some knockoffs, dude. I put it in the Google machine. I found like some knockoffs that aren't bad, and they're I
don't shy away from a knockoff.
They're like $50. Not bad looking. Just saying.
All right, so
yeah, I mean,
I'm now $50 shorter after this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you just like the fucking, you can get it. You can get Grateful Dead fucking sneakers and it not cost you fucking $2,000. Like, that's
totally fine with that. I just loved like the fur on the tongue. I was like, my feet are gonna sweat most likely, but I'm about that. As a great shoe. I was so excited. I know. Who was it?
They're fuzzy.
Brendan Schaub. He I think got like one of the first pairs, and like
of course he does.
His podcast. He's like, you guys hear about these Grateful Dead Nikes? And I was like, I instantly paused and went right to Google. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, shit. Just the fucking the orange ones, man. I mean, we're talking about 5,500.
Yeah,
5,500. But they are dope. They are fucking like
fuzzy. Like a Nickelodeon feel, kind of, right? Like with the orange and the green.
Yeah, the orange and green.
Yeah, it's like very Nickelodeon to me.
Those are $5,500, my man. Woo, buddy. So
the trick about those shoes is if you own them, you have to be really, really fast. Because they ain't running shoes.
No. Fuck no, they ain't. You might even just like put that behind glass. Like just put it behind glass, not even
right.
Like, I'm just saying.
That Grateful it's like they could if they just made the shoe and then like do Grateful Dead collab, it would have just been a fuzzy color for shoe. It's because they like the second they put the bears on it and say it's a collab, you get that little tax on there. because both parties got to make something.
See, like I'm not in terms of like shoes, like I'm not like a sneaker head, but I mean, like this thing looks like, literally like, Fuzzy the Bear's like literally fucked, like he fucked a pair of Nikes, but in the best possible way. I mean, it's glorious.
They don't even need to look up a photo of them now. Thank you. And it's either green, orange, or yellow.
These are fucking sick.
So real quick before I leave the Grateful Dead, so I'm Lithuanian. I'm half Spanish and I'm half Lithuanian, right? So Lithuanian is a country that is in Europe that during the Soviet Union reign, it was completely owned by the Soviet Union. And we actually didn't get independence as a country, I think it was till 1992 or 1993. Now, Lithuanians are amazing in basketball, which is why I tried out. So I sucked. The Spanish side came out so heavily. But go back to the last Olympics, look at the scores when USA won. The only team that came close was Lithuania.
It's Lithuania. Yep.
Right. We are really good basketball players. So back in 1994 during the Olympics, they had no money, nothing. They couldn't fund a team. They couldn't send a team. There's none of that. The Grateful Dead sponsored the Lithuanian Olympic team in 1994, and they won bronze. Give me 1 minute. 1 minute. And they won the bronze medal.
Dropping knowledge like a motherfucker, Mike Pinto.
Oh, it was 1992 Olympics. I'm terrible. Yeah. So this was like their team shirts. These were like their jerseys. And it was like, so they did like a twist off with the Grateful Dead for Lithuania. This is why I'm a big Grateful Dead fan too. Because they and then it was wild. Like, it was crazy stuff.
And again, that 92 Olympics, right? The gold medal winners were none other than the fucking dream team.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like so, that was their first year in the Olympics too.
To be a third place of a country that just got fucking formed and go third from the dream team?
Right. Because they weren't losing. So really you were playing for second or third.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing in the Olympics. So it was wild. And thankfully the Grateful Dead, they started all that. And now the Lithuanians, they have a fairly good basketball team today. As you said, they put it on Team USA this year. Granted, USA ain't the dream team. Big differences there. But they put it on them, man. It was the closest game there. It was good.
Shout out to the fucking Grateful Dead. Shout out to Lithuania. I'm just saying, that's fucking fire. And I'm real big on fucking useless music and whatever knowledge and shit like that. You fucking stumped me. So
really?
Kudos to you. Kudos to you. I had no idea.
I had so much music knowledge that is because I love music so much, but I can't perform it. So when these people put out songs, I analyze it, I break it down. Granted, everyone has a different interpretation. I can't tell you this is exactly what this song means, and you can feel nothing but what I'm telling you right now. But I break it down because there's always a deeper meaning in all these songs, or you can find it. If it's not there, you can make it up for yourself personally. I love music. I can honestly talk for hours on just music.
That's fucking brilliant, my man. But you are fucking brilliant, dude.
Thank you.
I mean, again, you've two crazy fucking art forms in Jiu Jitsu and pastry, and you've managed to figure out a lot of it. So fucking A, man. I can't wait to see things get to a bit of normalcy where you can get to parlay your crafts, in the way that
wait. I mean, I got tournament December 12th at least, but I want to be cooking, man. I want to be chefing it up a little bit. Hopefully soon.
We gotta get you in there, man. But obviously, there have been a lot of people that have kind of influenced you and helped you out along the way, whether it be peripheral or right there. But let's get some shout outs and acknowledgments out of the way, my man.
So where would I be unless of course, thanks my family. I honestly I I had to save this for the end because I don't want to get emotional on this. Because if I started off with this the whole time, but like I cannot begin to stress how much to say I love my entire family. From my parents, I have a brother and a sister, Katie and Maddie. I love both of you so much. From all the support from New York, I always feel it. If I'm ever having a bad day, I can just call and one of them answers. It's wonderful. And honestly, you need that because I have people in California, but you need home. You need your family. It's different. And like for everyone out there, like even if you're going through times with your family that's rough, call them up, tell them you love them because you never know what might happen. This world is really just too short. You know what I mean? But and I can't. April 8th, I'm coming home. I'm seeing y'all for a week. I'm excited. I'm gonna hold everyone there for an extra second or two. Because it's been about a year since I've been home in New York because of COVID. So I can't wait to see my family. I cannot wait. And then I got to thank every instructor I've ever had, from Tony Chen to Adam Shorts, every single jiu-jitsu, TJ Brocking back in high school wrestling, Davey, every single person that's always helped me, every one of my teammates. I got to thank Alex Suazo, 130-pound dude, 135-pound guy. He's tapped me more than anyone in this world. I was huge, muscle, tapped me out, guillotine, triangle, skinny little dude, killed my ego day one, killed it every single day of my life. Love that guy. Definitely helped me realize that you got to push yourself. Also want to thank, bad at this, trying to, Clube Jiu Jitsu. This current gym I'm at now, I have never been in a better gym in my life. I'm so excited to compete, to put on what they've been showing me. Their style works so well. From Mark Bradford is the teacher there, and Lulu, who's running the fitness classes. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. Technically, I'm the best I've ever been. I feel like I'm going to kill it, and I cannot wait to actually do a tournament with all these people like pushing me forward now.
I fucking love it. And we can't wait to see you back and to, get some semblance of, the pursuit of what you love. And that's one thing that you've been able to do. And we can't wait to see you, whether it be on the mats or in the kitchen. We can't wait to see you. But for those who want to follow your journey, until we get to that point, or during when we get to that point, where can people find you, good sir, on social media?
If you want to see me personally, which is, I'm going to say it's going to be a lot of food posting and some jiu-jitsu, that's Jitsbury Doughboy. It's a kind of, see if I can get, it's like my little mantra here, like a little mantra, my little guy. So I always used to buy Pillsbury Doughboy products. That was always my thing. So it's the Pillsbury Doughboy wearing a jiu-jitsu gi. I got to touch it up because I have my purple belt now, so I got to fill in the purple. But I'm going to fill in the belts as I go until I get my black. And then he's got a nice little chef knife, a little rolling pin. That's me in a tattoo form, essentially.
That is sick.
That
is sick.
So it's a Jitsbury Doughboy. So basically Pillsbury, but with Jitsbury Doughboy. And then if you just want to see delicious food, which I'd be trying to put out, Treats by Jitsbury Doughboy. And that's where I'll try to make you hungry.
I'm hungry. We got to fucking do that shit right now. Go ahead and follow him, as I have done. And, dude, I'm going to fucking quote the Golden Girls, but fucking thank you for being a friend. You've been fucking so awesome to me during the year. So I'm glad to fucking have you on, and we can do this. And we can, once everything gets back and rolling, we might even do one of these in person and shit.
Yeah, I'll cook it up for you too. I can't. I gotta walk the walk. I can't just be talking here. Like I could just make something look good. It gotta taste good too. But Adam, I want to thank you as well. Honestly, man, I don't know if don't give me that look. You are a great person. You create a platform for us young athletes, young artists to try to like a stepping stone. It's like a comfortability in moving into this world. There's a lot of people that overlook guys like me, people like me, because it's like, well, no one gives a crap about you. I don't want to say it like that, but you're like, no, I do. I want to hear your story. I want to get your story out. And it's very touching. And I've listened to a bunch of your podcasts, people from humble beginnings, and they just very respectful, man. I appreciate all the work that you do as well.
No, fuck. If not for you guys, I wouldn't fucking have anything to talk about. And so, shit, like there would be no podcast without the guests and the people that supported it. So I fucking thank you for doing all the shit. And again, you earn yourself a place on this fucking podcast because you do the fucking shit that you want to do and don't take no fucking names. Just fucking you take names and fucking do shit with it. So again, you're a fucking master motivator you are, and I can't wait to see you do your fucking thing, man. But thank you guys for watching us here at A Court in the Woods, and if you haven't already done so, we warmly encourage you to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe the A Court in the Woods podcast on both YouTube and Facebook. Right? I mean, Mike, you're fucking subscribed, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like a secret YouTuber. I gotta like make the account and start subscribing. I gotta actually like do that. I'm like, yeah, very behind the scenes, like in the don't want people seeing my activity. But yeah, I've been watching a good amount, so I definitely try to keep up as best I can.
And I'm subscribed too. But if you don't fucking believe Mike or myself, here's pro wrestler Zeta Zhang to convince you.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe.